Hey guys, good evening, everyone. It's Sean C. Morley. Even though today is May 27th, it is Memorial Day. This is actually a recording, or the show, I should say, from Sunday, May 26, 2024. And you guys know I always get these out before I turn in. Unfortunately, beyond my control, Jersey Central Power and Light decided to cut our power because some anomaly happened. And I was waiting and waiting, but the power didn't get restored till literally almost 4:30 a.m. So being 9 or 10 p.m. at night, I waited an hour or two. It still didn't come back. It wasn't coming back for any time soon. So I said, we'll just shoot this later on the day. So you're going to get two shows tonight, unfortunately, but that happens, very, very rarely. So welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. You are tuned to Inspirations for Your Life. And our master topic for the week, which we kicked off just on Saturday, is embracing the power of stop and start. All right, guys, do check out my hat, believemeachieve.com, for more of my amazing, inspiring creations, ladies and gentlemen. Check out all the great stuff. And tonight's show is Stop Limiting Beliefs and Start Empowering Your Life. So the first one I'm going to talk about is your inner critic. Now, everyone has an inner critic. Maybe you don't know who the inner critic is or what the inner critic does. But the inner critic is basically the part of you that tries to say, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. And it's important to identify the thoughts that are holding us back and being aware. So 90% of change is being aware of it. The other 10% is taking the action to change. But 90% of it is actually seeing, oh my gosh, this is what I'm doing, I better change. When you confront your inner critic, it's important to confront and reframe. So challenge the thoughts and replace them with empowering alternatives. For example, when somebody says, I can't do this, well, I am learning each day to do it better and better. Or somebody might say, gee, I can't make $1 million. Well, each day of my life, I am becoming wealthier and wealthier. You see how that works? It's a mind shift. Maybe it was with sports. I can't run. I can't jog. I can't walk. I can't lose weight. Every day of my life, I'm learning to be healthier and get closer to my perfect weight. Or every day in life, I'm learning to embrace the spirit of jogging, walking, running, and loving it. Okay? These are important things. So let's talk about a growth mindset. That's probably the next thing I want to talk about. A growth mindset is a mindset that deals with the fact that you are moving forward and not backward. There was a wise person, I believe it was the author, and you probably know the author I mean. He was the author, he still is the author from the book from Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You probably know him if I mention this to you. His name is Robert Kiyosaki. And he said something very interesting that I want to pair to growth mindset. He says, you have an asset in life and you have liabilities. Well, poor people think that certain things are assets and other things are liability. Wealthy people understand that the only thing that really is an asset is something that produces money, whether it's actively or passively. And a liability causes you money all the time. So let's embrace a growth mindset just like we adopt a mindset of wealth. Embrace challenges, view challenges as opportunities rather than obstacles. And know that a challenge is just a temporary stopping point so you can regroup, reframe, become positive, and let's say attack that another way. Have you ever heard of, let's give you an example. Let's give you the dog. So maybe you've seen the dog and the dog's trying to open the door and open the door and open the door. And the dog, a dog, and gee, what a dumb dog. And then you come by, let's say, or maybe you didn't see that part of the dog, or you came by one day and all of a sudden the dog just opened the door by just turning the knob, with its mouth and opening, like, gee, what a smart dog. No, the dog actually saw a challenge and it kept wrestling with and learning. So when you thought, gee, if you saw the dog, what a dumb dog, no, the dog wasn't dumb. The dog was just trying to reframe and understand, how do I go about that way? How do I go a different way? What do you do when there's a road closed? Well, very simply, you go another way. You take a detour. When we embrace a growth mindset, our challenges become basically the opportunity to learn and grow and progress further. Affirm your abilities regularly. Remind yourself of your strengths and your potential, and use affirmations to build confidence and to build self-image. This is really cool and true, because a lot of people get frustrated because they can't do something at the given moment. Now, I think that's a very important is to surround yourself with positivity. I cannot express this enough. Positive influences will breed success. Spend time with people who uplift and encourage you. Their positivity can be contagious, and it can motivate you to keep digging deeper, right? You remember one of my talks a while back, you have to dig down deep to get up high, right? You have to reach down deep to get up high. Yeah, you have to dig down deep to soar high. And so consuming inspirational content is important. Read books, listen to podcasts like myself, watch videos that inspire and empower you. If somebody in your life, I don't care whether it's family, friends, other, doesn't matter, whether it's a colleague, and somebody tries to take away that joy or rob you because, like, hey, you can't do that, you can't do that. Who are they to say you can't do something? Maybe they're jealous of you. Maybe they're at a different point in their life than you are, which is perfectly fine. And I always said, no one has the right to make you feel inferior about yourself except for one person. That one person is you. So why would you want to make yourself feel inferior? That's my question to you today. Why would you want to make yourself inferior? What's the reason? You would just be hurting yourself, right? You would be hurting yourself. So don't do that, ladies and gentlemen. Make yourself, with a stance of being positive, and you'll see that a lot can come out of that. All right, next point. Visualize success. You've heard me talk about this time in and time again, and it's a recurring pattern, but it's something that keeps us going. And visualize success. See your future self. Picture yourself achieving that promise. Visualize enhancements in the motivation and focus. You can create a vision board. You can use visual aids to represent your dreams. You can keep them in sight, help maintain inspiration, direction. This is important, ladies and gentlemen, because when we visualize it, your mind doesn't know that you're not there yet, but that's okay. Just embrace the concept of being there. Embrace the concept. That is very, 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 very important. Embrace the concept of being there. And you know what? It won't be long until you're actually there. All right, moving on to the next point, which is this. It is self-compassion. Compassion. Be kind to yourself. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer a friend. Forgive mistakes. Accept that everyone makes mistakes, including yourself. Use them as learning experiences, as stepping stones, rather than excuses to criticize yourself like, oh, I can't do this. I don't know how to do that. Let's look at what you can do, and let's be a cheerleader for those things you're doing already. And when you do that, you'll be like, oh my gosh, this isn't as hard as I thought it was going to be, right? It's not as hard as I want it to be, all right? So if we embrace that whole concept, then maybe you'll understand what it means to be your own cheerleader, to offer compassion. So before I go forward, I want to talk about what is compassion according to Merriam-Webster, because that's probably the best place to start. According to Merriam-Webster, the definition of compassion is sympathetic consciousness of others' distress together with a desire to alleviate it. That is compassion. Compassion and empathy both refer to a caring response to someone else's distress, while empathy refers to an active sharing an emotional experience of the other person. Compassion adds to the emotional. So when we think about empathy, that's somebody literally ready to jump into another person's shoes and be able to roll up their sleeves and help, not just mentally, okay, but also actively sharing in an emotional experience, even a physical experience. That's what empathy is. Some people are only willing to be at the compassion state where they acknowledge what's going on and want to help them with their distress to alleviate, but they're not willing to put on a pair of boots or shoes and even walk, I don't know, a foot in their challenges. And you might say, John, well, why? Because some people want to do the right thing. Unfortunately, their eyes are bigger than their heart. And I'm just saying this in a truthful way that some people want to help, but then they just pull back. It could be because they just don't like it. It could be because they don't really want to help. It might be something that they're thinking about is actually going to change, or maybe they get scared, right? There could be lots of reasons to why people don't want to be truly empathetic. So lots of people are compassionate, but they are not always empathetic. And you're going to find some people that aren't empathetic. They don't even want to sympathize or acknowledge the pain or the challenges you're going through. You know, a lot of friends want to be there when the going is good, but they're never there to help you when you're with challenges and troubles. So if you have challenges and troubles, well, why don't you embrace those and work on it together? And you'll find that your life is going to be, when I say amazing, it is going to be absolutely, absolutely, I mean, amazing. So that is very, very important. You know, and I think that is the most important thing, is understanding that and knowing that these are things that are happening. I will tell you, this is something you have to think about. But I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that support is important at every different level. And knowing that support for you has to start from within you, from within your heart, within your mind. You see, if you expect support from everyone else and you can't start supporting your own self, how is someone ever going to jump in and be able to support you if you can't even believe in yourself? Goes back to my slogan, ladies and gentlemen, believemeachieve.com. I've got one more point to share with you for actually yesterday, which is Sunday's show. And then later on, we'll have the show for today, which is Monday's show. All right. Commit to lifelong learning. I've talked to a lot of people like, oh, you know, I'm done learning. I went through college. I had enough. Okay, great. Don't rain on my parade because you don't want to learn anymore. I mean, that's what it's coming down to. Commit to lifelong learning. Embrace new knowledge. Seek opportunities to learn and grow. Stay curious. Keep your mind sharp and adaptable. Skill development. Focus on building new skills that align with your goals. This not only will boost confidence, but also opens new opportunities. I think sometimes people get frustrated when one thing happens, but the thing that happens to them is not bad. It's something that's just different for them. That's right. I said different. So different scares people because they don't know how to respond. They don't know what to say. They don't know what to do. So therefore, they take it as a negative that they need to shut down. Is that the right modus? Not really. But again, not everyone's perfect. No one's perfect, actually. So committing. Let's talk a little bit about what commitment means. What does commitment mean? According to our good friends, Merriam-Webster, what is commitment? So commitment, according to our good friends at Merriam-Webster, commitment is a noun, and it's an agreement or pledge to do something in the future, especially an engagement to assume a financial obligation at a future date, something pledged, the state or instance of being obligated or emotionally impelled to act of committing to a charge or trust, such as a consignment to a penal or mental institution, committee, the act of referring a matter to a legislative committee. So commitment. I commit that I will give you 100% of my all when I'm at the meeting. I commit that I will be 100% present. My cell phone will be on Do Not Disturb, and I will be present at these meetings all the time. I commit that whenever a board member reaches out to me, that I will return correspondence to him or her within 24 business hours. That's what I commit as a board member. I commit that I'm here to uphold the bylaws and treaties of our 501c3 organization and do what's best for the greater good of all concerned and the charities we serve. I commit that in this relationship, I will be faithful to everyone. Okay? I commit. I commit. Okay? That is very, very important. Knowing what commitment is, hopefully you'll be able to understand what it means for you, and maybe you'll start to embrace what a commitment is. Okay? So think about that right now and think about what that's going to mean to you. A lot of times when we hear the word commitment, we get a little scared because like, oh my gosh, I don't want to commit. So no one's forcing you to commit. And if you don't want to commit, then don't. But what I want to share with you is don't lead someone on and, let them think you're going to commit. It could be business, could be personal, relationship. It could be even a friendship. I don't care whether it's platonic, non-platonic. You need to do what you say you're going to do. So right now, today, we're talking about stopping limiting beliefs and start an empowering life. So when you choose, ladies and gentlemen, to challenge your inner critic, okay, when you learn to adopt a growth mindset, when you know you've got to surround yourself with positivity, when people are negative, it's time to, basically not hang around them anymore. Visualize success, not once, but on a continual, constant basis. Practice self-compassion, right? And if you're really able to do it, practice empathy. But we know that's a little harder. That's being active. And commit to a lifelong of learning. When you do these things, you are setting yourself up to be successful. Let me give you a quick analogy. What does a baseball player, let's say, what does a baseball pitcher need to do to set himself up for success? What does he or she need to do? Well, they've got to commit, right? Join a league as early as possible, right? Pitching in the 10 and under baseball leagues is great. Pitching in the 10 to 13-year-old baseball leagues, pitching in 13 to 15-year-old baseball leagues, 15 to 18 years. Have a support system in place to become a good pitcher, because let's face it, it's not easy. And there's going to be times when you're just going to want to be like, I want to get out. Find the right coach and teammates to be your cheerleaders and applaud you along your journey and help you learn from those challenges. For pitchers, they need a minimum of one other person to help them become better. And that person is usually their catcher, but not always. Have the right pitching gear. Pitching nets if you want to improve your pitches accuracy, but do not want to be bothered with having to drag someone else out all the time. Get a pitching net. They're not that expensive. Radar guns. Track your pitching progression. A radar gun is necessary to tell you the velocity in which you are throwing. And many baseball clubs have these. Resistance bands for baseball players are easily the most crucial aspect of training for the sport because pitching involves a lot of shoulder usage. Baseball gloves, that is a must. Baseballs, okay? It's also worth mentioning that you should have catcher gear like baseball gloves, catcher gear, right? Training to become a pitcher is not something you're going to do in 24 hours. And you've got to realize that you're going to spend some time exercising key pitching muscles regularly in the gym, making sure they get stretched out, doing core exercises for pitchers, upper body exercises for pitchers, shoulder exercises for pitchers, pitcher training drills, okay? Watching other people pitch online, in person, understanding what is a wide stance, a rock back, and for it to gain momentum. How do you do that? Back pedal drill for pitchers, broomstick curveball drill for pitchers. You have to realize that you have to practice. drop net drill for pitchers. Plan out your pitch training calendar. Off-season training for pitchers, preseason training for pitchers, on-season training for pitchers. Final training tips for pitchers is be wary of specialized coaches that promise various things if you work with them. You know whether somebody's going to be good for you or not. Conclusion, become a good pitcher in baseball will take time and effort from everyone to get to where you want to be. You're not going to get there overnight. Ladies and gentlemen, I am John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It's been a privilege, pleasure, and honor to be with you this fantastic Memorial Day, Monday. Remember, this show is actually for Sunday, courtesy of our friends at Jersey Central Power and Light that decided to interrupt my power yesterday. And that's why this show is late, because you know my shows are never late. I think there was a show late a year ago because I was traveling and the hotel suddenly lost Wi-Fi at 11 o'clock at night. And they did not get it back until late the next day. So I had to do the same thing. So this does happen once in a while. And sometimes it happens on Jay Moore Tech Talk Show. But on the Inspiration of Your Life show, we're usually right on track every day. And I do thank you for being loyal and watching the show and sharing it and embracing yourself, because stopping limiting beliefs and starting to empower your life is really key. And if we can stop the negativity and empower ourselves with positivity, there's no limit to who and what we can become and what we can do. Have yourself a fantastic rest of your evening, and we'll catch you guys real soon.